TalkTamitRadio.com. We go where you go. Download TalkTamitRadio.com app to your cell or tablet. That's radio, the way it should be heard. Now, this is Libby, and you're listening to This Is Libby. And call me at 1-877-932-9766. Talk to you some Libby. Oh, I got me some help. Just telling you about stress stressed me out. So with me are Melissa and also Barbara Clark and Melissa McFadden. We are going to talk about how stress has affected them. And there are some other things I want to share with you as well. I know for a fact that some of you don't know that stress backward is dessert. Let's consider getting us some dessert, some relief up in here. Before I say hello to them, I just want you to hear me. That the pharmaceutical people, the medical people, the insurance people, and the morticians are waiting on you not to remember what I told you today, so that when I leave here with you and you're on your way to dinner or whatever, they're waiting for you. You get me? You understand what I'm saying to you? Been there, done that, bought a t-shirt and a mug. Barbara, how are you?
I'm wonderful. What about yourself?
Did she say she's wonderful?
Wonderful.
She's not stressed out.
Oh, no.
She's not sweating.
No.
Oh, my God. None of that? I want some of what you doing. And Melissa, what about you?
I'm doing better. I was sweating earlier today from stress, but I was able to calm myself down, and I'm doing better.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, Barbara, you have some things on your heart, and I want you to speak about those things right now. Here in Columbus, there's stuff happening. Tell me what's going on with you.
There's a lot going on in Columbus, Ohio. I know everybody heard yesterday how the Columbus Police Department set up the stripper. What was her name? Stormy Daniels, how they set her up. We also heard about how the one police officer got caught with child pornography. We also heard about the one police officer striking the young man downtown just minutes away from city council meeting. So what is going on in the Columbus Police Department? And least to say, the things going on with Lieutenant Melissa McFadden.
Ah!
Yes.
Now I know why I was led to talk about you some stress. Can you imagine what it's like to be a police officer? I'll be a black police officer. I'll be one. Ooh, she moaned. And I got to go to work every day. I have to leave my home, my family, and hope that I return home. Then I get there, and my ancestors have all arisen behind my back because I'm catching hail from the system I'm working with for you here in the community. Did I get that right, Barbara?
Actually, you know, when you go to work, you shouldn't be stressed. You shouldn't be, but a lot of people are. But when you're dealing with other people's lives and making decisions for other people, there's a limit of stress you should allow to enter into your space. But I can understand in Columbus Police Department, I've talked to several officers, and they were talking about the discrimination, the disparity in discipline, sexism, and the list goes on in our Columbus Police Department. There is no way our mayor should stand for this. Things need to be done. Just looking at the things that's happening over the last, few weeks. Mm-hmm. This has just been few weeks. So you can imagine what's been happening before that, and God fears and knows what's going to happen ahead. You know, I think some decisions need to be made with our police department, and Mayor Ginther, we need you to step up. Oh. Step up and make the decision that everybody else don't want to make. I know you're a good man. You're a great mayor. Let's do something.
Okay. So now, let Libby just do a little bit more. And I want Melissa to talk to me because my interest is piqued. I've been talking to you about stress. I remember what it was like to be on my own job when I was working in a hospital setting. Life support team is no joke. So I'm letting you know that I've seen people come into the world and I've seen people leave the world. But what I can't imagine, I'm trying to wrap my head around it, is that I'm in the police force doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and I have to deal with that. So, Melissa, can you give me some insight here on what happened to you?
Well, basically, we're in a system that when we get mistreated, there is no relief for us as black officers. We are up against a system that sees our discrimination complaints not properly investigated. My investigation is a bogus, solicited investigation. It's been going on over a year. So when you were talking about that long-term stress,
yes.
I understand that better because of what I went through this last year and a half. But our officers are in there, and they are struggling to go to work every day, especially when they're targeted. And we have many that are targeted, and they'll call me and they said, I don't even feel like going to work. And I have to encourage them to go back to that place where there's no help for them. So that's what I'm trying to do, is get help for us so we don't have to go into this hostility and be stressed every day from the people that we're supposed to be blue with, where we're supposed to be in tune with, and we're supposed to be partners with.
Okay, so help a sister out. Glad I got my sisters with me today. Okay, so I'm concerned, like when I'm driving my car and the right police officer says, Miss Libby, may I have your license and registration? And yeah, sure, no problem. And then I'm expected to get good treatment. Then of course the news is telling me that there are instances where you stop and you end up in a morgue. But you're telling me that what's going on inside the police department itself, there is corruption, there are bogus accusations to the point of our police officers don't want to go to work. Now, they're putting their life on the line every day for us. But they don't want to go to work because they're catching hell in the building. Barbara, can you speak on this for me, please?
From what I'm hearing from the police officers, it's just a lot of stress. You don't wake up one morning saying, I want to be a police officer. These are lifelong dreams. And then you go into the force and find out, whoa, this is not what I bargained for. And then you have to go out and deal with different personalities in the community. And then from what I hear, they're changing stories, and it's not what we thought it was. Here we thinking it's the child's fault that they killed, and find out it could have been handled a different way. But because the police officer stressed out, or he's just a bad police officer. And I hate to say that, but we're finding out there are some bad police officers on our Columbus Police Department. We are headed for a lot of trouble if we don't get this straightened out. When they get to talk about setting people up, and this wasn't the first time they set someone up. This had to have been something they've been doing all along. When we talk about pornography, someone high up in rank.
What do you mean high up? How high?
He's a sergeant.
Anybody. Talk to me, anybody.
He's a sergeant, and he was
sergeant?
the public information officer, the face of the division.
And he doing child pornography. I only can do what I'm allowed to do. Where do I get the nerve to behave the way our officers are behaving without some kind of I don't think I'm going to be retaliated against. Someone else in high position who can get me won't get me because we're all on the same agenda. I think that we need to, as citizens, as voters, we need to tell Mayor Ginther, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Tell Mayor Ginther to please.
Now, I don't feel like begging. What can we do? Maybe Melissa can help me with it, because I'm past the begging part. That's James Brown.
What we can do is hold our chief and everybody in the chain of command accountable for not doing proper investigations. Our Internal Affairs Bureau, they use result-based investigations. They already have the result, the outcome predetermined before they even start the investigation. We need to stop that. We need oversight. We need police reform. The body works at the direction of the head. And if the head is corrupt, it's going to trickle down to the rest of the body.
Because we heard last week where Chief Jacobs said, I'll take full responsibility of the officer's behavior with Stormy Daniels. So we find out that they set her up. So that means she's going to take the responsibility of her police officers setting someone up. It makes me feel like she knew all along. So is this some inside stuff? What else is inside? We have a lot of black men in prison, or a lot of people in prison, for accusations that were told against them, and they hollering, no, 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 it didn't happen like that. And they're going to prison, and we find out we got a corrupt police
your thoughts,
academy,
your
or
thoughts,
police,
Melissa. Tell me your thoughts.
Form.
So I'm a prime example of corruption. I'm a prime example of how they lie on a person to get them. They set people up. Today I had my safety director's hearing, and we presented him with an expert witness that's nationally known across the country, that's recognized in federal court, recognized in state court, and he said, and his specialty is in internal affairs investigation. He trains all across the country. He said that the investigation conducted on me was biased, it was unfair, it was not impartial, it was not the standard in the Midwest of Columbus, of other agencies the size of Columbus Police Department. So we gave that to the safety director today. So that's everything he needs to show that this investigation was bogus and it was a setup, just like the Stormy Daniels case that she's referring to, that there's lies being told. So all I'm saying is no one is held accountable. So that's the problem. Because nobody's held accountable, we walk around stressed because we know any given moment we can become a target. And if we stand up for ourselves, we retaliated against. So that's stressful in itself when you're walking around in that environment. Always have to watch what you say. I can see Blue Lives Matter posters everywhere in the substation, but I can't say Black Lives Matter before I get in trouble for that. I can't speak up and be proud to be a black person. I can't just take a picture of the Black History Committee without being targeted because I wanted to take a picture of the Black History Committee. So it's just a very stressful situation. Our officers need help because there's no hope for us right now, and I'm trying to change that.
So how can we help? Are we at that place right now? How can we help, or do we need to talk more about what's going on with our officers? I mean, they're scared. I'm going to go on and say so. I got a sense that there's a level of fear that they are living with constantly,
yes.
Which means their muscles are tight, they're having cramps in places they never had to have cramps before. They are also suffering with headaches, they're suffering with body aches, they're suffering with nervous stomachs. Just over everything I just spoke to you about. So the nervous stomachs, then of course that's diarrhea, constipation, that means more pain. Am I correct when I'm looking at you saying that our officers are suffering from a stress syndrome? I'm going to call it a stress syndrome because they are on guard constantly looking over their shoulder. Who's writing them up? Who's sending emails? I'm just kind of going through and getting a kind of an idea of what might be happening to our officers. Why would I want my son or daughter to join the police force if they're going to be mistreated while they're trying to protect the neighborhood? I don't get that. Somebody help me. Somebody help me. I might say something.
But I just think is we're actually, if anybody wants to help, what we're doing, we form committees. And because it's such a systemic issue with the environment that we're in, we're going to have to break it up into segments because we can't tackle everything at once. So we have committees that actually we have formed to try to reform the department. So we're starting with the vetting committee. The next chief and deputy chief is going to be appointed soon. So the community should have input. You should have input to see what commander or what deputy chief you want next to be chief. So we need to look at what they've signed off on, what they've approved, what they have allowed. How are they the ones that's always saying there's no discrimination? Are they always the ones that's turning away black officers' complaints? Are they the ones that's doing the disparity in discipline, handing out harsher disciplines to black officers as opposed to white officers?
Shut up!
That's the kind of stress we're under. We know that we're not going to be treated the same. I get in trouble for the same thing, but I am terminated where a white officer's not.
I normally don't tell anyone to shut up. That was an auto response. I apologize profusely. However, you saying that, I mean, our ancestors are rolling over right now because they took this stuff so we could even be sitting in these chairs.
Right.
And yet you work hard to get your badge so that you can do what you want to do to help humanity, and you got to deal with massa.
How many black police officers are there compared to the whole team? Minority. How many minorities are there?
The last time I had a count was 188 out of 1876 sworn.
Wow.
So it wasn't that many. When I came on, it was over 300. And as time went on, they either get fired, they're not hired, or they get they leave to go to another agency because of the stress and everything associated. It's just not worth it to them. So we lose good officers.
So we lose good officers.
And what about the hiring process? Do blacks or minorities have to go through more than their counterparts?
They are on the surface it's the same, but I think the standards are a little different.
Double standards.
When you come to what they accept, a little different. So there's different processes in there. We have to look at it. The hiring process has always been an issue. So we have to actually look at each part to see which part is causing the problem. Because not all the people that go into the recruiting process and the hiring process are bad. All black people.
No.
We got some good black people signing up for these tests. But I haven't done enough research on my own to be able to talk intelligently about it. But I do have other people that I do know that worked in recruiting that can actually speak on that much better than me and tell you exactly what the problems are.
So this just leads me to the next thing. Now you're high in rank, you're lieutenant.
Yes.
You're eligible to be a commander?
Well, I was supposed to take the commander's test on June 12th, but when the chief recommended termination, such a harsh discipline for me, I was not able to study appropriately to be able to take that test.
Wow.
Does that mean that your shot is out? Do we still have a shot with you?
Every 2 years you could take that test.
So what I'm seeing, and being the age that I am, it looks like there was some discrimination, racism, all that going on.
Bad intentions.
To stop you from being the first African American female chief of police. That's what all of this is about, is racism at its highest. It's discrimination at its highest. We have to look at their motives.
Yeah.
They didn't just wake up one day and say, we're going to target Lieutenant McFadden. They had a strategy. They have a plan. You're not part of that plan, and they were trying to get you out the way.
Sounds like it to me, Barbara. And as my sister would say, there's something dead in that biscuit. Yes.
But the main reason, I want to make sure we're clear, the main reason it started because I helped a black female officer report discrimination, and I reported a commander for retaliation. That's where it all started. That's where they came after me, because I stood up against racism inside the division of police.
That you weren't going along to get along.
I wasn't going along to get along. I never have since day one. Okay. So that's why they say I'm not a team player, because that team is wrong. If it's wrong, I'm not for it. I'm for what's right. And because I stood with this black female, they came after me. And that's where this all started.
So are you in a position now to continue to help? Because we want to help however we can. I mean, we are the citizens who depend on you to help us in the community. What can we do now that we see you for what you've done? However, we're not done. What can we do now?
You can contact me, and you can sign up for a committee to help reform the police department. We're not having a new organization. We're not having anything like that. We're just having people in the community sitting down. I'm directing them what they need to look for, how we're going to do it, because I'm inside. So I know what needs to be changed, and I know how we can change it.
All right.
And then we'll go to our elected officials and say, here, these are the things that's wrong. Here's our proof that it's wrong, and this is what we want to change it. This is how we want to change. And if those elected officials decide that they don't want to reform the police, or they got other agendas, they don't feel it's important, then we got to find a way to get them out of their seat.
Okay. Then tell us how we can reach you.
You can reach me at my email. It's mweems1007@hotmail.com. That's mweems1007@hotmail.com.
Okay. And Barbara, do you have a contact number for any one of us to reach you?
Yes, the Black Women's Voters League has stepped up. These are the type of issues that we fight for. We fight for our black women. We fight for what's right. And so, if you want to get involved in this project or this action in making sure that we get a healthy police department. You can also contact the Black Women's Voters League at 614-517-2002.
Well, I'm telling you that talking about stress was very appropriate. And now that we have yet another event that will stress us out, this is where we make a difference. Stop, take a nice, slow, deep breath, and make up your mind that this has got to stop. Any stressful situation has to be put on hold, put on shut down, or the children say lockdown. What I want you to do is consider the numbers that were given to you today. And I want you to get involved because you've got to start somewhere. And this is a perfect opportunity, especially since they've negated the possibility of Melissa McFadden to become chief. Oh, but there's so many other things. You don't stop there. What they say, when one door is closed, another door is open. And we are on a constant look for a way to make things better for ourselves and our community. You have any other thoughts? Because I'm sure that we're going to have to leave this table for now, but we are not done with this. Not with this at all. What would you like to say, Melissa?
I just want to tell everybody thank you for your support. Thank the Black Women's Voters League. They've been there for me since day one. They put a billboard up. Well, the citizens of Barbara Clark put a billboard up for me, and I appreciate that. And just continue supporting the cause, supporting reform, and supporting oversight. Please call Barbara or send me an email or Facebook me at Melissa McFadden. Give me an inbox so that we can change the culture in the Division of Police, because we need it. Our officers are suffering.
Can't have that. Nuh-uh. Can't have that. If you are on any type of work that you do and you are experiencing this kind of thing, remember that the stress levels do affect your physical body. And do remember that this particular conversation with Melissa and Barbara are very significant because we need our police officers to be there for us. They have to feel safe in their environment every time they put on their uniform and snap the badge on the side of their chest. They got to decide whether or not this is a day I may or may not come home. Let's don't have them dying on the inside while they're taking care to keep us alive on the outside. We have to move. Barbara says it sometime, come together. So what it means for me, come together, is support one another. Make sure that Melissa is safe. Make sure that she's supported and she knows she's loved. Make sure that Barbara in the Black Women's Voters League is supported. And you can do this simply by making a phone call, an email, or you can, I don't know if there's a need to donate money. I just don't know that. But I do know this. Paper trails matter. Our love for her matters. Just to know that she's in this thing and she's not by herself matters. So I just want to tell you. Yes, dear, go ahead.
The biggest thing right now, listening, all you listeners to this station right now, if you're not registered to vote,
yes,
get registered to vote. Because when we get ready to make this move to put some elected officials out of office because they don't want to change their policies and procedures, we need your vote. Your vote counts. Your voice counts. Get registered to vote. If you moved, you need to re-register. If you got married, you need to re-register. If you haven't voted in the last election or two, re-register. Please, we need your vote.
And with that, I'm telling you, your vote is your voice and you have power in that. Remember, till I see you again, that TalkTainmentRadio.com, the world's greatest radio, is radio the way it should be heard.